Hi guys, welcome back to Network Path, and in this video we are going to learn what is DHCP and how it works. From very basic step by step we will understand the working of DHCP and you will require no other video after watching this. Let's get started. DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Control Protocol. Now this protocol is used to provide IP addresses to the computers that are connecting to the network. Okay. Now when you are using your computer to connect to the internet, there are two options. You can manually assign an IP address that belongs to that network, or you can set it to automatic. And this computer will receive an IP address automatically when it plugs that cable. Okay. Now who gives this IP address? A DHCP server, a dynamic host control protocol server, which might be hosted in some other computer that is there in your network. Okay. Now, in the basic scenario, I am taking this as a DHCP server that is situated in your network itself. So, this will provide an IP address to your computer. Now, host control seems to be a little bit misleading because it actually gives a way to configure your computer. Okay, we are not controlling, this protocol is not controlling your computer, but it pushes some configuration such as default gateway and subnet masks. So that is why it is called as host control protocol. Right, now let us understand its working. This is our setup to understand DHCP. Before that, there are some steps. Let's understand them. See, to get a DHCP IP from a DHCP server, there are two steps. The PC that needs an IP address will send a request, and that request is known as discover message. Okay, and to that discover message, the DHCP server will respond with a offer message. Okay, now let's see on the figure how it will work. Now this PC which needs an IP address, it currently do not have an IP address. That is why I have mentioned that it is unknown. And this is our DHCP server which has this MAC and this IP address. So this PC will create a discover message as it is mentioned in the first step. It will create a discover message. Now this discover message looks like this. Okay, there are more parameters than this, but these are sufficient to understand the scenario. So the source IP at the first place, we do not have any IP, that is why it is taken as 0.0.0.0, and destination IP is taken as a broadcast IP because the PC itself do not know what is the IP address of the DHCP server. So the message is broadcasted. That means this discover message will be received by all the end devices that are there on the network. So if it is sending this discover message from here, it will be broadcasted to all the end devices that are present on the network. Okay, and apart from that, there is a client ID, and client ID is basically MAC address of the PC that is requesting for an IP address. Now this discover message will travel through the network. It will be received by all the end devices. Now as it is a DHCP discover message, these end devices, these PCs will discard or drop the frame, but this computer which is hosting a DHCP server will accept that message and look into it, what is the client ID, and it is a discover message, so obviously it will look into its pool. So every DHCP server has a pool of IP address. So let's say if this is the IP address and it has subnet mask of 255.255.255.0, then this number will range from 0 to 255. So the IP address for the DHCP server is 100, so it will provide some IP address in this network, right? Now in the second step, as I told, it will create a offer message, right? So this PC that is hosting a DHCP server will create a offer message. Okay, and it will send that to the network. This offer message looks like this. It is again a broadcast IP or destination IP. Okay, so the source IP is the DHCP server's IP itself because it has an IP address already. Now as our computer yet not got any IP address, so the destination IP address will remain as a broadcast IP. So this offer message is again received by all the computers or end devices that are connected to the network, and this is the thing that is going to make a difference. It is the client ID, that is MAC of the PC, which will remain same in the discover message and offer message as well. Now this DHCP server will send this offer message to the network. Again, this will be received by all the devices, and they will check what is the client MAC address, and it will see that this frame is not supposed for them, so they will drop. This will again drop, and this PC will see that the offer message has its MAC address into it. Okay, now looking at the MAC address, it will match that it is the same address as its MAC address, and it will receive an IP address that is there in the offer message. So an IP address, okay, sorry, and new IP address is also embedded in this offer message that will be received by this computer, and finally this computer will receive an IP address. Okay, let's see what are the settings that are received by the PC which initiated the DHCP request. Okay, first of all, an IP address will be received by the computer. Let's say this is the computer, and it will receive an IP address that is inside the network. Okay, so if this is the network ID, then it will receive an IP address in this pool, as it has subnet mask of 255.255.255.0, then it will get an IP address in the range 10.1.1.1.1.0 to 255. Okay, and it will get a default gateway. So if there is some traffic that needs to be translated to the internet, then it will get the IP address of the default gateway. So the traffic for the internet will go from this interface. It will get an subnet mask so that it will get an idea of what is the network size, and obviously it will get the DHCP server's IP address and a DNS server IP so that it can resolve the domain names, and there is a lease time as well. So whenever a DHCP server gives an IP address to any specific PC, it will provide that IP address for a specific amount of time, and after that, that IP address is supposed to be renewed. Okay, so that renewal time is provided in this lease time, and there are option codes as well. So there are few other parameters and other settings are there that are provided to the PC or the end device, but these are the main. Okay, now there is a catch that if the location of the DHCP server is outside the network that you are in, the process will differ by some steps. Okay, so there could be two types of locations, that is first in the same LAN, and second one is on other network. Okay, so on the same LAN we have discussed in this scenario, we can see that the DHCP server is inside the same network, but if the DHCP server is not in the same network, we have to do some extra steps. So this is the figure that I'm going to use to make you understand how a DHCP server that is outside the local area network works. So this is a company which has two offices. One is the main office, and this is a branch office, and they have a DHCP server that is situated in some other remote server location. As we can see that the DHCP server is on the third place. This is main office, this is branch office, and this is the server location, and these locations are apart by a lot of routers in between. Okay, but we do not need to worry, because one setting that we need to do is this one, that one important configuration on the router interface. Okay, so let's say this is the office where you are sitting in. So this is your PC, and you need an IP address from the DHCP server. So this is the interface that is taking you to other networks. So we need to do some setting on this interface, and similarly if some other guy is sitting in the branch office, the configuration needs to be done on this interface. Now this interface will have this configuration, that is IP address, and in front of it would be DHCP server's IP address. So for example, IP helper address and the IP address of the DHCP server. Now this configuration again we need to do at this interface and this interface, whatever interface that is connecting you to the internet or some other network. So this is my favorite diagram to understand the DHCP, when a DHCP server is situated out of the network, out of the local area network. So this PC that needs an IP address will create a discover message, and we can see it is sending it to the broadcast IP, because it do not know the DHCP server's IP address, and it will have a 0000 IP address. Now when this interface receives the discover message, as the remaining computers in the in the network would discard that message. And when this very interface receives this message, it sees that the helper address, that is the IP address for the DHCP server, is 172.16.2.11. So what it will do, that the router will create a new discover message, and it will have the destination IP address of the DHCP server and the source IP address of this interface. Okay, now this message would be sent throughout the various networks, and it would receive to this DHCP server. Now this will respond by creating a offer message, and it will provide the IP address, the destination IP address of this interface at which we are connected, and the source IP address of the DHCP server itself. Now this message would travel throughout the networks and will be received to this interface, and again it will create a broadcast IP message, that is the offer message with broadcast IP, and it is the server's IP address. Now as we know that the offer message has a client ID, so there is no need to worry if the message will be discovered by the computer or not, because every computer in this network would match the MAC address, and if the MAC address is matching, then the message will be received by the computer. So this computer A will receive this IP address through this offer message, because its MAC address would be matching with the client ID, right? And this is how the DHCP server that is located on some remote location actually provides IP address to the computer. Okay, so most companies that have various offices at remote locations usually prefer this DHCP server that is centralized, and this provides IP address to all the office location and the devices that are connected there. And that was it for this video, friends. I hope you understood basic concept of DHCP and it's working. Thank you for your patience. And apart from this, we have more topics to learn. There is DHCP snooping, which is a DHCP attack, and one is how to create a DHCP server. I will publish both of these videos very soon. So stay tuned. Thank you so much.